Hi, beloveds. It's Angelina Marie. I have a message from the Pleaidians about the collapsing timelines. And I did a really short one a few days ago, and it was just kind of like a brief overview. And I was instructed that I needed to do a little bit more, and I've been getting a little bit more information in the last few days. And to be honest, I've been dragging my feet a little bit on it because I feel like that we don't really have the vocabulary to really explain or express this concept in a way that it's being energetically presented to me. So I'm going to do the best I can. I'm being told it's very important for those who are on this path to understand this concept, and that when the Lion Gate opens tomorrow, it's going to create energetic situations for us to be able to create our heart's desire. And so this is going to be hopefully a tool for you to be able to create the life that your soul's been telling you about, that your visions have been about. So so bear with me. I'm really gonna just do the best I can, and if you have any questions, feel free to post them in the comments below, or if you're wanting more one-on-one time with me, I do personalized sessions, and we could kind of work on this directly. I'll include my website below, but it is www.lenamarie.net. And so let's get it started. I am gonna bring in Anya. She's my Pleaidian guide to kind of assist me with these concepts. And yeah, and so we'll move forward. So just give me one moment to kind of check in and bring her through. So hold on. So the first thing she is saying is welcome, and that she is so grateful for those who are taking the time to learn these concepts. And she's saying most of you, or a lot of you that are attracted to this video, are already getting their own messages on it, and this is just kind of a reminder, or she's calling it a bookmark to facilitate with the rest of what you already know, basically. And so she's also wanting to comment about my hesitance in doing this video, and why, and just kind of being compassionate with me for my concern, because you know, we just don't have the language to express concepts that are complex like this. And hopefully, as the universe gets more into these deeper concepts, we'll be able to start creating some language that works better around universal concepts. So she's wanting to get right into things. And so she's wanting me to review, for those who haven't seen the other video, and there's a little more, we're going to go a little more in depth with what I talked about before. And she's wanting to make it very clear that for many, time limbs have already collapsed. And for me, I'm feeling it for sure. And that when time and space no longer exists, that it creates an energetic vacuum that's similar to a black hole. And in that energetic vacuum, there's polymer threads that go back to original points of suffering in our lives. And because the vacuum frequency is opposing the original suffering frequencies, there is an absolution of the original suffering. So in letting go of time and space and moving beyond time and space, then on a human level, she's saying that we see it as healing, like healing of our past. And it's not that we don't remember those past sufferings, we just don't have the emotional attachment to those sufferings. And we're able to see the bigger picture of those original sufferings. So I'm going to just do a quick diagram to show you what that looks like. So this would be the black hole, and then on this side are the polymer threads, is what they're calling them, and then this little dot would be the original suffering. Okay, so as we're healing those parts, and even though the universe doesn't look at it as healing, that's just a name that we're giving on a human level to explain a phenomenon that is difficult to understand. Okay, and then I do want to talk about the vocabulary of this real quick before we get any further. Is when time and space collapse, there isn't any past, present, or future. Everything's happening in this present moment. And because we don't have the vocabulary for me to explain things that would seem like they're in the past, I'm still going to use past, present, and future just to describe this concept. But when I'm seeing it in the big picture, there isn't any past, present, or future. Everything's just kind of happening simultaneously, and that's why there's this healing, is because everything's happening in this present moment. So the language kind of takes away from the concept, and so please don't get caught up on the language. It's just a tool that I'm using to express this concept, and know that if we look at it from the big picture, that everything's happening at the exact same moment. So things that happened to be in the past is really happening now in this moment. And the way that we can kind of on a human level understand it is sometimes they explain it as like dimensions or alternate realities, but everything's just happening in a present moment, and it's like a big circle, and everything's just happening within that circle. So I hope that's helpful, and once again, we just don't have the vocabulary to explain it. And then when I'm saying future events, know that that's not necessarily the future, that's just a way to understand the concept. So yeah, so I appreciate the complexities about this concept. So in addition to that, if that vacuum energy left behind from the collapse of time and space goes to our past experiences, then and those are healed on a human level, it also goes to the future. And so we can look, and I'm just going to continue on our diagram. Hold on. So in the diagram, you can see that we have this like one event that's in the center right here, and so it goes both ways. It goes to the future, which is this way, and it goes to the past, which is that way. And so it just kind of spreads out into almost like open, it's blossoming like a flower, and it's creating all the energetics around it. So now I'm going to give a personal example about how this relates in our physical human lives, okay? So the example that I'm going to use is an archetypal example, okay? So I have some notes so I don't forget. There is an archetypical relationship between a father and a daughter, and that archetypical relationship is about unconditional love. And but in my experience, it wasn't safe for me to love my father unconditionally, so I didn't get that experience. And because I had that lack of experience, it created a lot of suffering in my life. And through this collapse of time and space, it went back to that original wounding, that original suffering, about not learning about that unconditional love between a daughter and a father. And I've done healing around that on my own, which for me means paying attention, acknowledging, learning to love that aspect of myself that didn't get to have that experience of unconditional love with her father. But this situation, or this collapse of the time-space continuum, just went back to that part and absolved any suffering in there. And I was able to kind of hold in my heart that that sweetness, that sadness, that desire to have that relationship. I could hold it in my heart and acknowledge that that experience wasn't received, and really honor the suffering in that, and the pathos that I created around that lack. And in that holding, in that experience of honoring that suffering, honoring that lack of experience, I could also be aware that my father also didn't get to have that archetypical unconditional love relationship. And so he was lacking in that too. And so I can also hold compassion and empathy for that lack of having that archetypical relationship as well. And in that's healing for me, because that's healing my animus. And the Jungian psychology describes animus as a female's inner masculine aspect. And I'm going to go ahead and include the definition below, just in case you're not familiar with it. But we all have feminine and masculine aspects of our interior selves. And so that healed my inner aspect of the masculine, my animus part. And through that healing allowed for that energetic resonance to be released. Okay, so in that healing, so we're on, I'm just going to draw a little bit more. So if we're on this paper, so this part here would be my healing, and then this other little dot, that would be my father's healing, okay? So in that same instance, because we can go into the past, now we can also go into the future. So in that healing and feeling into that, having that deep, compassionate, empathetic love, which translates into unconditional love, because that's what unconditional love is then also that experience goes to the future and would go over to this end. And that, so on that other continuum, then in the healing that I'm doing now, because time-space is collapsed, I have access to do this, is I'm healing my future son's lack of having that unconditional bond with his grandfather. And also healing for him, before he's even born, that that lack of love that I had within myself. And my animus is playing that father role for me now. I get to play that within myself. And so that's going to be healed for him in the future, that he won't have to have this experience because I'm doing this right now. And so that's how we're going from the past and now to the future. So now to even take this a step further is, we can heal things in the future, but we can also we can pull energetics that are in the future to be anchored in this now moment. So I'm going to give you another personal example on how to do this. So in this moment, I'm trying to create a gift economy, which means I'm trying to create a community that lives together and supports each other without using money. And in wanting to have this kind of society, of wanting to have this experience, I can go to future timelines, and I can go through the different future timelines and choose the experience that best matches my desire in this moment. And once I find that future timeline, I can go ahead and match the frequency of that energetic and hold that and anchor it in this now moment. And when I'm anchoring that in this now moment, that is creating and manifesting that future timeline for myself in this moment. And it's the beginning of that. So we're also able to go to future timelines and create those things that we're wanting by bringing them into the now moment. And that's the part that's Anya's really wanting us to remember, because as this lion gate opens, this ability to manifest on such a large scale is really becoming more profound for us, and allowing us to really be as creative as we could imagine. And this is how we're making our dreams come true, is because we're able to reach into future timelines and pull them down into this now moment. So I'm going to just check in with Anya real quick and make sure I didn't miss anything. So hold on one second while I do that, okay? Okay, so she's wanting me to show you guys on my lovely drawing here. So let's say that I want this moment right here. And so what I do is I feel into this frequency, and I hold that frequency, and I pull it energetically back here. And then I can ground it into this present moment, and that's how we're doing it. Now, if you're needing additional guidance about how to do this, she's saying check in with your internal guidance system. And I am open for questions. So if you have any questions, you can post it in the comments below, or feel free to email me, and I'll do my best to get back to you on those questions. But just feel it in your body, and if this is something that's resonating with you, then put that intention out to the universe that you want to learn how to do this as well. And the universe will give you modules on how to do it. It will give you some training on how to do this, and not to worry about it. That everything's happening in line with your greatest desire of having this access. So I hope that this was helpful for you. It's my pleasure to share it with you. And yeah, and I do apologize about the vocabulary, because that makes it more difficult to express these kind of concepts, but I feel confident that you guys got it. So I send you lots of love and blessings today, and wish you so well in manifesting your dreams.